Welcome to GPS to CAD. In this video, we're going to see how to bring points from a drawing into GPS to CAD and then into the GPS unit itself so you can locate those points in the field. The first thing to do is to check the CAD program that is selected in Preferences. The program defaults to AutoCAD, and if that's what you're using, this step might not be necessary. However, I use several CAD programs on this machine, so I need to check which one is selected. I do this by going to File, Preferences, and then the first Plot Settings tab. In the CAD program box, we have three choices: AutoCAD, TurboCAD, and DoubleCAD. I'm using AutoCAD right now, so that's my selection. I click Save and Close and return to the main window. Just so you know, I have AutoCAD 2012 running in the background with a drawing that contains several objects. Now I'll begin. I go to the CAD tab and click on Get from CAD, which brings up a wizard. Click Next and I have step number 1. On this page are some verification checkboxes. I need to make sure that the drawing was made in the same grid as what is selected in GPS to CAD. In other words, if the drawing was made in a standard NAD 27 UTM datum, but I have maybe state plane coordinates selected in GPS to CAD, I should go back into Preferences and select the UTM NAD 27 grid so that the translation from latitude and longitude will be correct. I should mention at this point that if the drawing was done to no datum, say for instance it was started at something like 10,000, 10,000, then it needs to be corrected and you shouldn't try importing points from it. The best way is to go back to the drafter or the surveyor and ask what the drawing was referenced to and make adjustments as necessary. There's another way to fix this, but it's not covered in this video. The next steps are to confirm that the CAD drawing is in the same horizontal and vertical units as GPS to CAD. Vertical units are usually not much of an issue, but you should be careful about horizontal units. If the drawing is done in meters or architectural units, and GPS to CAD is set to international feet perhaps, there will be a major discrepancy. So if you need to make a change, you can go back to the Preferences window and change the units. The zone for the CAD drawing will take some explanation. When you reference a location in the world with latitude and longitude, the location is absolute. Latitude can be 0 through 90 degrees, and longitude can be 0 through 180 degrees, and a plus or a minus on each number indicates the north, south, east, and west. However, grid datums are not that way. With grid datums, the world is broken down into smaller sections, or grid zones, and the X and Y are based off of some location within that grid zone. The specific layout depends on the grid you're using. For example, the UTM system will be different than the state plane coordinate system, or different from one of the common systems used in Europe. So the X and Y coordinate must be accompanied with the name of the grid and the zone it's referenced to. To illustrate this, take a look at these points that have been imported from a GPS unit and placed into the main grid of GPS to CAD. You see the latitude and longitude that was contained in the GPS unit and is the absolute location, and you see the name of the datum being translated to. Here you see the X and Y values of latitude and longitude, and here is the zone that the X and Y is referenced to. The problem is that most CAD programs don't reference the datum or the zone. It's sufficient to simply reference the X and Y coordinates to go from point to point. So when we plot these points into CAD, we send only that information. Now if we're bringing the points into GPS to CAD from a drawing, we still need the zone information for a proper translation to latitude and longitude. Since it's not contained in the drawing, we need to supply it here in the drop-down box. Of course, we are already supplying the name of the datum, and we confirm that up above. We can get the correct zone in one of two ways. If you have already brought the points in from the GPS, and you're just getting some changes from the drawing to send back into the field, then you can use the zone that was calculated at that time. However, if you don't have that information, you will need to find a latitude and longitude of some point within the drawing. Probably the easiest way is to go to a program like Google Earth and zoom into the area of the drawing. If you hold the mouse over the center of that area and write down the latitude and longitude shown for the mouse pointer, you can use that. Once you have that lat long value, click the Don't Know button of this window and enter the values. In this case, I enter a latitude of 33.59638 and a longitude of minus 112.1513. I click on Find the Zone and see it's in Zone 12. The program enters it for me. I close the box and see the zone inserted. So now I have all the grid and datum information necessary, so I'll go to the next window. Here in the What to Select box, I simply tell the program which drawing items to get out of the drawing. I can choose points, lines, lightweight polylines, and so on. I can even get custom blocks if I supply the name. The program will search the drawing for all of these types of objects and collect them. So if you have things you don't want imported, say some points, you should freeze their layer so they're not available. In this example, we're going to select points, lines, polylines, and GPS to CAD blocks. I say GPS to CAD blocks as if they had been inserted into the drawing once before. I could also get custom blocks if I supplied the name. On the last tab, I need to click the button that says Verify Input. This confirms that I have supplied all the necessary information, or it tells me what's missing. Before I go further, let me show you the drawing. Here are 2 points showing, I think, as PD mode 32. I've got a line, a polyline, and a GPS to CAD block. These are the items I'm getting, and I should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 vertices. I go back to the wizard and click on Get Points. Import is complete. Now let's look at this again. It found 2 points right here. It found 1 line which has 2 vertices. It also found the lightweight polyline that has 4 vertices to it. And it found a GPS to CAD block that has 1 vertex as the insertion point. So it found all the objects I selected. Now I'll go back to the main window of GPS to CAD. Here I see the points that are brought in. There are 9 points. It labeled the points as points. On the polyline, each vertex is numbered. It shows the line with start and end points, and it has a block named 004. If I want to send these points back to the GPS unit, I highlight them, go to the GPS tab, and click Send to GPS. Now the drawing data is in the GPS unit. I could take that unit into the field and walk to each point for whatever reason I need. And that's all there is to bringing your points from a CAD drawing into GPS to CAD and then into the GPS unit itself. Thank you again for trying this program, and be sure to check back on gps2cad.com for other support videos.